Mhm.
Hello, Marty.
Yes, Ronnie, I see you.
Yeah, okay, I see. Well, I don't see much of you. That's what I'm going to say. How about tilting the screen on the laptop so that you can see your
I'm
face?
going to take this down. I'm going to move it anyway because Adele wants to do it. She's downstairs, so I'm going to have to move it. And when I get down there, then
Oh, okay.
I can set it up.
All right.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, what happened? I just lost myself. I can't see anybody anymore. Oh, there we go.
Recording.
All right, I'm closing down my mic.
Well, we'll set it up here on the table. Yeah. Yeah, people are going to see you eating. So people will see you eating. So, remember, there's a video there, so they can see you.
Hi, Ronnie.
No, she doesn't have the. Let me see. I'll have to get the cords here. Make sure that. Let me see.
Hello. Yeah, I see you, Marty.
Barbara's gonna be in on this, not me.
Okay.
Make it louder.
Okay.
I have the car.
Men play mahjong.
We had a hard time finding you.
Let me get the power cord. You blocked off the. Well, you won't need a.
Hi, Bonnie.
Hello, friends. How are you?
You won't need a mouse.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
You found your brush.
I love everybody. Just can't wait to get on. We've got people here early.
Yeah, well, also wasn't sure if the connection would work and I need some more time to poke around. Think on the synagogue website, rather than having to scroll down past all the speakers or like the Wednesday class, all of the past classes, they should have the link at the top.
See if I can do that.
I think that's
Make it a lot easier for people.
yeah, I think that's a good idea. Kathy would be the one, I think, to share that with.
To move it around.
Yes.
Well, okay, I mean, I'll send her an email.
You know, I like to do whenever I've got an event that I know I'm going to attend, I put it on my calendar and then I put the link right there so I don't have to keep going back to the website all the time. But then I still end up going back to the website for different things.
Well, let me ask you something. When you set up a Zoom event or conference, you know, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and they say something about putting it on the calendar, and then they say, well, they want to have access to all the dates and all the everything.
Yeah, I don't do
What
that.
are they going to putz around with?
I don't know. I've not done that.
Well, so I don't give them permission.
No, I just copy the link
Oh,
and
I see. Okay.
and I add that link. Hi, Betty. How are you? You're on mute.
Jeez.
Fine,
I
fine.
can see your mouth moving and it's like, oh, she's talking and saying
I am
hi.
repeating myself. Fine. And you? This is so weird.
Yes. Oh, your hair looks cute.
Well, the corona.
The Corona cut.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That should be the new name for a haircut.
Corona cut.
What? Orphan haircut?
The Corona cut.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. I need a haircut bid.
It was extremely long. I don't want the hairdresser here in my face dyeing my hair. So I decided that if I cut it, it's gonna be like people are gonna look at the length.
And not at the top.
So when I talk like this.
Oh, that's brilliant. You can move the camera down and, you know, just cut it off.
Bonnie, your hair looks long.
Yeah, it's long. I have not gotten any haircut.
Have I? And I can't
I've cut.
find my dresser.
Yours looks very cute with the bobby pin in it.
Well, I couldn't help it. Otherwise, it'd be in my face.
My hair would just laugh if I tried to put some of this in a bobby pin. Like, that's not going to do it. So I cut my husband's hair twice, and my husband cut my son's hair once. And I'm happy for them to try to cut my hair, but nobody wants to. They're scared. Like, I don't care. It's hair.
Well, you can just tie it up, I guess, in a ponytail or something.
Yeah, but then when I pull it tight, then you can see all the gray. As long as it's like curly, it gets hidden underneath.
I need my curls.
At least that's what I tell myself, right? It's hidden. Nobody sees it at all.
Well,
How's
you
everybody
can see it.
doing on this week?
Judith is here.
Hi, Judith. How are you?
All righty. Thank you for doing this again.
Yeah, no problem. Jordan, I don't know if we've met before, but I see your name there.
I'm Barbara. My husband. I'm on my husband's computer.
Ah, okay.
Because I have an iPad and I'm not too knowledgeable. We had a hard time logging in because we didn't know the exact password to use.
Okay, but here you are. Good job.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Now,
I will try to
all the
remember.
synagogue events use that one password, Kedem with a capital K.
Yeah, first, but when he realized capital, then it went through.
I gotcha. So we still have time. Gosh, I love everybody so early. They're excited to do this.
It's our undistant socializing.
I think it's great.
Well, it's better than not.
Right.
Agree. I mean, yes. Thank goodness it is 2020 and we can do this fairly easily. Couple of clicks and
Imagine
that's it.
what it's like with the pandemic that was what, 1918, 19, or
Oh
something like,
yeah, I
without
can't
all
imagine.
of this technology.
I can't imagine.
Do any of you play Mahjong on the computer?
Hmm.
Is that,
On Real Mahjong. I mean, yeah, Real Mahjong.
is that what it is? I haven't
Yes.
tried yet, but I heard people do.
Yep. In fact, I'll use some of the time today to talk through strategy, and I'll go on to Real Mahjong so we can go into a situation. I used to like to do it with the tiles, but this actually seems even easier. When I would take out my set of tiles and shuffle them around and do some random picks. But hey, it's great if you've got other people to do all the work, and I don't have to spend all the time shuffling, and I can do more time talking. Oh, hey, Julia.
Hi.
All right.
Expand. There we go.
All right. We can wait a little bit more for people to join. I don't know, Julie, if there's anything you wanted to talk about more generally from the tool.
Yeah,
anything?
I just wanted to say thank you everyone for coming. This is part of our Monday night Zoom series during the pandemic. So check your emails for other events on Mondays. I just wanted to let everyone know this is being recorded. So if there's people that wanted to come tonight and can't come, they can find it on the Beth Meyer YouTube probably in a week. Just so all of you know, probably it's just going to be the speaker whose face will show, but maybe there might be seconds of other people's faces.
Oh, great.
Excuse me, Julia. So you would go to YouTube and there's a Beth Meyer.
Yeah, Beth Meyer has a YouTube channel. If you go to the website, it's at the bottom, or I think you can just look on YouTube for Beth Meyer. And not the first beginning of these Zooms, but the more recent ones have all been recorded and are on there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and look and see. Watch how many times I'm touching my face or other.
Thanks for the reminder, Bonnie.
Oh, you bet, Vivian. I was just about to say, ooh, I know Vivian wanted to come. If I'll put myself on pause and call her, but good. Glad you're here.
Yeah, on the announcement for the event, it didn't include the sign-on, code.
That's right.
I guess that's done purposely. So then I had to kind of research that. So.
Yeah, sorry, it's so hard to find. We try to keep the passwords separate, for safety, but everything has the same password. So once you know one, you know everything.
Yeah, the password I knew. I didn't know the number. Now I do.
All right. All right, folks. So let's go ahead and get started. We have a nice crowd today. Got a dozen folks on. Great. I see some familiar faces from classes. Oh, hi, Greta. How are you? And some people are coming in for the first time. So what I want to do today, I think last time here I shared a couple of slides for the 2020 card. I'm trying to remember who was the session last time. Judith, you maybe? Anyhow, so what I want to do is go through a couple slides where I've done some different analysis on the 2020 card. It's a really great one in my opinion. It's just been very different from past years. And then I'll go through a couple things that I've found for observations, and then I want to jump into Mahjong time, and we'll talk about strategy as we go through a couple different Charleston scenarios, and we'll discuss decision making and more importantly the reasoning behind. And then we'll continue some full games and we'll see how much we can get done in our time. Julie, can you please remind me, is this 90 minutes or 2 hours?
Usually we say 1 hour to 90 minutes, but if people want to stay on longer, they're welcome to.
Okay, I just want to be conscientious of the time. An hour and a half should be plenty. All right, so let me go ahead and share screen. Oops, I think I need permission to share screen. All right. Oops.
Sorry, 1 second. Let me.
Got my permission came and left.
It came and left.
Well, I started to share and then it said, no, you can't share.
You should try again. You should be able
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and I think I might have done some of this last time. If I did, but let's just walk through. So there's some really neat patterns on this card. Some are a little more readily apparent than others, but honestly, there's a lot on this card that masquerades as different hands that really don't have much to do with each other. And I know I've been tricked a few times looking at exposures. So I tried to kind of break it down in these slides on different categories. So when you see certain exposures, you can become more familiar with the different options they might be. So this first one here, I'm looking at pungs, and we're going to talk about consecutive pungs. So when you see consecutive pungs in the same suit, what are the different hands it can be? This is participative.
Oh.
Third one down.
Consecutive runs.
Consecutive run, sure. That third one down where we have the two suits that starts with two pungs in the same suit.
Any light numbers?
Consecutive pungs.
Oh, consecutive. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, there's
Bonnie. This is Susan Bach. I've played and I have the card, but I'm somewhat of a novice. So if you could explain some of the terms, because I haven't played in a long time.
Certainly. So pung
Thank
is
you.
the term that's used for a grouping of three. So when I say consecutive pungs, I'm looking, as this example shows on the screen, a grouping of 3 ones and then a grouping of 3 twos, so consecutive numbers that are pungs.
And does it have to be only numbers? Can it be?
Yes.
Numbers.
Numbers. Yep.
Okay.
So what else could we have if we see consecutive pungs?
There's also a 2-4-6 hand, a 2-4-6-8 hand.
Consecutive numbers.
So that's not
has
consecutive.
Consecutive numbers. Okay.
Yep.
The first hand in consecutive runs with the 7s and the 8s, or the 3s and the 4s.
Yep. Exactly. There's a couple specific cases. So if you see 3s and 4s, it could either be that hand we just talked about in the consecutive run category, the third one down, or it could be the one in this the first consecutive run. We could be playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And likewise, if you have 7s and 8s, it could be that higher hand. So those are the couple that we see for that. If you see consecutive pungs, if it's 3s and 4s or 7s and 8s, you might not know which one they're playing. But if it's any other numbers, they must be playing this hand here, the first one that's shown. All right. What if you have consecutive numbers, pungs, in different suits?
Whatever.
Okay, that's a trick question. There is none. If you see somebody put up consecutive pungs in different suits, call them dead. All right, so let's see the scenario where we've got consecutive pungs, but we're skipped one number in between. So instead of 1s and 2s, we have 1s and 3s or 2s and 4s. Then what could we have going on?
Yeah.
Same suit, pungs, but a number skipped.
1, 3, 5, the third one down.
Yep.
2, 4, 6, 8. Fourth one down.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, the 2s and the 4s, exactly.
So the 1, 3, 5, the second one up from the bottom. The ones and fives or fives and nines.
I'm just talking about one skipped number.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So the one you said before was correct. The third one down where we have ones and threes.
Mhm.
And then also the alternate with the fives and the sevens. So we have two pungs, the same suit, and we've got one skipped in between.
The fourth one on the 2, 4, 6, 8.
Yep.
The twos and the fours.
The
And
fours,
it's the second one down also, the 6 and the 8.
the second one down. Right, the second one down, we have the 6 and the 8. And the 2s and the 4s, right? I think we've got them. So we also have this one here, in consecutive run with the same suit. We have this hand pung of 1s and a pung of 3s interspersed with a Kong. The Kong is 4 of a kind. So we have 1, 2, 3 dragon. So in addition to the 1, 3, 5s where we're skipping numbers, or the 2, 4, 6, 8 we're skipping numbers, we also have the same pattern in the consecutive run category. So if you see 1s and 3s in the same suit, it could be 1, 3, 3, 5, or it could be 1, 2, 3 dragon. And similarly, if you saw 6s and 8s, for example, it could be 6, 7, 8 dragon, or it could be that second hand down in the evens category where we see 6s and 8s. So there's a lot that kind of looks very different the way the hand is put together. For example, the 1s and 3s, it's at the beginning of the hand, that 6, 8, it's sandwiched in the middle. And in the consecutive run, we've got something stuck in between. So we have a lot of different options. We talked about all these. And so the evens, 4s and 6s, 6s and 8s, and we have a lot of these odd options. So I don't know that we've named all of them, but they look very different. So if you've got 5s and 7s, it could be the single suit, the first hand in the odds with the single suit. It could also be the first hand in the odds with 3 suits. You don't know which one it is if somebody puts up 5s and 7s, or it could be the 5, 7, 7, 9 hand. So when you see 5s and 7s of the same suit, it could be single suit odds 1 through 9. It could be 3 suit odds 1 through 9. It could be 5, 7, 7, 9, or it could be 5, 6, 7 dragon. There's a lot that we can put together from this pattern. And one more. So sticking with our pungs, what if we have 2 pungs with 1 skipped number in different suits?
Well, the closed hand at the bottom of 2, 4, 6, 8.
That is correct, but you wouldn't see that in exposure.
That's true.
You shouldn't see it.
You shouldn't see it. That's better said, Ronnie.
What about 2 above that, though? The 2, 4, 4, 6, 8.
Yep, that's one. We've got a pung of 4s and a pung of 6s. And I'll let you guys off the hook. That is the only hand where you have pungs in different suits with 1 skipped number. That is the only case of that. I'll talk through a couple of the Kongs, and then we'll go over and play some game. This is helpful, I hope, to see it laid out like this. I know I really forget, just because they look so different. As we had talked before, if you see even numbers, I might not remember it's the consecutive run, or likewise, there's a lot that mimics each other on this card. So let's bring it over to consecutive Kongs. So what if we have consecutive Kongs, so 4 of a kind, consecutive Kongs in the same suit? What hand could the person be playing if you see these 2 exposures?
The third from the consecutive run.
Yep. Up the 1, 2, 3, 4. What else?
The same suit.
The fifth. in the consecutive run. No, because it's not the same suit. No, I didn't say anything.
They're fourth and
All right.
Nope.
So Betty's right. Actually, that is the only hand. If you see consecutive Kongs posted on somebody's rack, this is the only hand they're playing. So you might not know which suit is the opposite suit for the lower numbers, but that is the only hand on the card that has consecutive Kongs on it in the same suit. What if you see consecutive numbers in different suits? Consecutive Kongs.
Well,
Then,
the fifth one down.
Betty.
that one.
That one. What if there's other consecutive Kongs with different suits? What else could it be?
Well, that fifth one down in the consecutive run.
Yep, that's what we're talking about. So with the pair, and then two Kongs that are consecutive in different suits. And actually, that is the only hand which has that pattern. So if you see consecutive Kongs, if they're the same suit, you only have that two suit option, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you see consecutive Kongs in different suits, it's only that hand. And this one, actually, you would know what the third suit is, where the first hand that we're talked about is two suits. If you see consecutive Kongs in two different suits, you know they're looking for those the pairs in the lower numbers, period. That is the only hand on the card that follows this pattern.
I never analyzed all the years that I've played Mahjong, which is like 50 years. I've never analyzed it. This is eye-opening.
All right, let's talk about what if you see Kongs posted with one skipped number. So for example, 1s and 3s in Kongs. What could the person be playing?
the third hand in the evens.
The third hand in the evens, absolutely. And actually two kinds, right? We could see 2s and 4s or 4s and 6s. Yep.
And also the fourth hand in the evens.
Yep, 6s and 8s, exactly.
Or the multiplication.
The second one in the consecutive run?
That's different suits.
Yeah, we're talking same suits right now. Yes, the second one, the second hand in the consecutive run, where we have 4 flowers, a Kong, a pair, and a Kong. So those 2 Kongs are the same suit. Excuse me. What else?
In the odds, the third hand.
Yep.
Either option there.
Yep, we could do the 3s. If you see 3s in the 5s, it could be that first hand, or
and also the 5th.
The 7s and 9s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That skips a bunch. You're talking about the 1s and the 5s and the 5s and the 9s? We're just talking about skipping one number.
Right. Oh, that you're right. I'm thinking it skips the middle.
Right, similar pattern.
My bad.
So yeah, so I think we noted all of these. So we have 2 different options in the evens, 2 different options in the odds, and then this consecutive run. So there's a lot of flexibility here when you see that. You don't know. You have to take it another level down. If you see 2s and 4s, or 3s and 5s, or 4s and 6s, 6s and 8s and 7s and 9s, where it could be anywhere. All right, so following this pattern, what about one skipped number with different suits of Kongs?
Well, that would be the consecutive second one down on the right-hand side.
Yep, we could do that one, the 4 flowers and Kong, pair, Kong, the 1, 2, 3, but the 1s and the 3s are different suits, absolutely. What else?
The one in the evens.
The evens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, the multiplication hands, exactly. 4 and 6, we have 2 Kongs in different suits. And the 6 and 8, we have 2 Kongs in different suits.
And the same for the odds.
And the same for the odds, 3s and 5s and 5s and 7s for the multiplications.
And the consecutive run, the 4 and 5, it's the 5th one down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This particular example is with one skipped number.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Like daughter, like mother. I did it too, Mel.
I think those were all. Let's see. Yes. Okay. So I think we named them all. So when you see the 3s and 5s up, for example, you don't know whether it's the multiplication for 15, or you don't know if you're missing a pair of 4s in the third suit with that. In fact, look how tricky this is. If you see a Kong of flowers, a Kong of 3s, and a Kong of 5s in 2 different suits, even with 12 exposed tiles, you still don't know whether the person is playing a multiplication and needs a 1-5 in the third suit, or is playing consecutive run and needs that middle number in the third suit. Think of that. 3 exposures, 12 tiles, and you don't know what hand they're playing. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a card where you could have that many exposures and not have it narrowed down to a single hand. So.
Excuse me. When did we get the latest card? What is it? The 2020 card.
What's that, Adele? I didn't quite get all your words.
When did we get the 2020 card? I don't seem to have it. The last one I have is the 2019.
I know that the shipping has been a little bit erratic because the offices in New York were closed down for COVID. If you go online and order one now, it might take 2 or 3 weeks to arrive, but you can go ahead and do that now, just on the National Mahjong League website. Okay?
Okay. I just looked at it. I said, where's my card?
Let's see, I just want to keep an eye on the time. We'll do a couple more of these. So I didn't do this one in the wave with the one at a time reveal. But so the pattern here is we've got, this is all a consecutive with a Pong and a Kong. So a group of 3 and a group of 4. So if the pattern is Pong Kong in the same suit with consecutive numbers, it could be this hand, the 1, 2, 3, 4 with the flowers. So we have a Pong and a Kong. It could be this 1, 2, 3 dragon, Pong, Kong.
Right.
And then special cases here for 4, 5, it could be the 4, 5 or the 8, 9. And I will confess, I keep forgetting about these. I'll see somebody post 8s and 9s in the same suit, and my brain automatically says, oh, they must be playing the consecutive run, 5 through 9. But and then it turned out that they were actually playing 4 flowers, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm thinking they're dead because I see all the 5s on the table, but nope. But also keep that in mind. If you were playing, for example, the consecutive run, the 5 through 9, and your 5s went dead, you could perhaps flip over to the 4 flowers with 4 numbers if you have jokers to fill in. So these kind of masquerade off of each other as well. If you see a Pong Kong in consecutive numbers with different suits, so we've got 2s and 3s, for example, in different suits, the only hand on the card that does this pattern is this 1, 2, the third one in consecutive runs, where we have a Pong and then a Kong in different suits. So if you see that, a Pong of 5 dots and a Kong of 6 cracks, they are doing 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the only hand that it can possibly be. I do. One skipped number in the same suit. So if we have a Pong and a Kong with 1 in between, well, it could be our straight up consecutive run, 3s and 5s or 7s and 9s. It could be the 6, 8 if we have 6s and 8s. It could be in our odds, or the higher odd. Lower odds are higher odds. And then the same pattern if we have a skip number with different suits. So a pung and then a kong that's skipped. We could have, well, we could be looking at the 1 and the 3 or the 2 and the 4. We don't know which way that would be going, which hand that the person is playing. We could, if it's a 4s and 6s, it could be this even number, this evens hand. We have 6s and 8s in this particular evens hand, and then we've got this similar pattern with like the consecutive run, 1s and 3s, or 3s and 5s, or 5s and 7s, or 7s and 9s. So there's a lot of flexibility here. All right. Has everybody had enough theory? You want to jump into the games?
Sure.
I mean, I can keep talking theory. It's all good. Let's.
Can I ask if you're having your own hand? A lot of times it's hard if you don't have the doubles to start.
Yes.
Can you give some information on choosing a hand?
Yeah, that's what we're going to do now as we play live. Me personally, the singles, this card has a lot of single numbers on it. So when you see the single or the pair or your NEWS or your 2020, I did an analysis before, and nearly 3/4 of the hands on this card have a single, a pair, a 2020, or a news. So 3/4 of the hands on this card, there's some element of the hand which you can't use jokers on. That's a lot. So my personal opinion is you really have to watch out for those Achilles heels and definitely weigh that out in your hand selection. I'm not saying never. If you have all the other pieces, then maybe it does make sense to go for the hand, even if you don't have the pair set. But personally, I really like to have pair set, at least one of each pair if there's more than one. I definitely would downgrade those options if I don't have my pairs fixed. All right, let me share my, oops, let me open up another. Stop sharing and, oops, Real Mahjong. I'll open up the, and I'll share this out. All right. Full screen, there we go. All right, can everybody see this? Are folks familiar with realmahjong.com? I know I've seen some of you out there before. So if you haven't, here's the URL up in the upper left. It is simply just realmahjong.com. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new game. I'm going to put myself in invisible mode so nobody tries to join while we're going through discussion. And we'll put it on the 2020 card at a normal speed. So let's go through a few iterations of, oops. Let me make sure I've got the sound on for you. Okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with this stuff that we've been dealt. So what do we see? We've got a flower, 1, 5, 7 in BAMs with a pair of 7s, 4 crack, 4 crack, 8 crack, 1.6.7. A soap, a north and east. So, you know, the typical junk that you start out with. No jokers. We actually have 2 pair. They're not awesome. They're not terribly complimentary. I think there might be 1 or 2 hands on the card that use 4s and 7s in different suits.
Mm-hmm.
But Mahjong is a game of multiples, so the strength of your hand is going to be anchored on the multiples. So what I want to do is, I'm just going to use my flower as a bit of a divider here for now. I'm going to put my 4s on this side and my 7s on this side. And then as I look at the rest of the tiles over here, what I want to try to do at this point, we're not looking at hands because that's that's a disaster. We could use all this mush to put together anything with lots of gaps. But what I want to do is figure out what category do most of these remaining tiles support. So if we have 4s and 7s, what else could we pull out of this stuff to support the 4, and I'm going to say and or the 7, because I'm not entirely convinced we're going to be able to use both of these pairs.
The 5.
The 5 and the 1 bam.
Okay. You're thinking odds with those, the 5 and the 5 bam, 1 bam? Okay.
And the 7, yeah, because it might go with the 7.
Okay. One note with the odds is that if you look at your odd category, the first hand and the last hand in your odd category, those go from 1 to 9. All the other hands in your odds category are either 1 to 5 or 5 to 9. So take note when you're trying to pick a hand, if you see a lot of odds, there's only a couple options if you have the whole span. Otherwise, try and determine, are most of your odds higher numbers or lower numbers? So for sure, I'd say we would keep a 5. When I look at this, there's nothing that truly jumps out, but I would say somewhere around consecutive run, I would keep the multiple with the 7. We've got a 5 and a 6 that fall in between. And
Well, the 5 bam.
yes, so I'm using my flower here as the delineation.
Oh.
And
So
hold on to the 8 possibly.
The 8.
So with the 4 is another
8 possibly.
alternative.
Yep. We could do the 8, although that's not in between the 4 and the 7, but
No, but it
No,
could
not
be.
for that, just for the pair.
yeah. So
We've got a
this is
single-
clearly not any kind of hand with what we've got, but what we're trying to do is gather tiles that we think could ultimately become the hand. And right now we're looking mostly at a consecutive run-ish. So we're collecting tiles in that 4, 5, 6, 7, or here we've got an 8 range. So let's go ahead and put together a pass. We're not going to pass 2 1s. No, 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 no. So let's pick one of them. And we can do one of the wins.
I would
And now
guess.
what? What?
The soap.
The soap.
The soap. I agree we don't have a whole lot to go with the soap. Personally, I don't like to pass a flower because they are the most valuable tiles on the card. And from that, I mean, they don't have a suit and they're used in every single category on the card. So they can be very useful for other players. Similarly, even though dragons do have a suit, dragons are in every single category on the card. And then the soaps in particular do double duty as the 0 with 20/20. So personally, I would probably try to not pass this at least at the very beginning. This is just
a question about the 1 bam and the pass.
Mm-hmm.
Why not the 1 dot instead? Because if you pull some stuff that might make the 1 useful with the 5 and the 7.
Okay. That is perfectly fine. I don't see a difference. But yeah, you're right. Okay, so we have the BAM. Personally, I would probably give up the 8 rather than pass 2 wins or 2 1s or a soap this early. We'll see what comes around. We'll see if it comes back. I'm just talking out loud as to the decisions I would make. I'd like to wait a couple passes to see if wins are going around. If they are, then I might be less averse to passing a couple at a time. But if they stop coming around, that means somebody's hanging on to them, and we definitely don't want to pass a couple at a time. So let's start with this, and we'll see where we can go.
Across.
All right, we grabbed another tile in between, 6. What else? Now we have a 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7.
8,
And
9.
you might want to hold on to the 8.
Yeah, we've got a whole run here, don't we? 5 through 9.
Yep.
Doesn't use the 4s, but so we can go ahead. Well, we can get rid of the north
Well,
and
it
the
doesn't
1.
use the 4, but if you had a 5 crack, would be using the 4s potentially.
Yeah, I wouldn't break those up just yet. We could potentially end up with a 4, 5, 6, 7. Right now there's a gap, but because we have the 7 paired, I would keep the 7. We could do, but we'll see one more, and then I am inclined to let the soap go because it sure doesn't look like it's going to do anything.
First left.
Oh, please don't anybody pass this. This is terrible. 2, 2, 3. So now we need to figure out how to make that a little bit better. We do have
the 3, 4.
3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't get us all the way to the 7 with our other pair, but you could see.
Well, depending upon what came in, the middle consecutive run with the 3 pairs, and then the 7.
Right,
3,
if
4,
we
5.
got 3, 4, 5 crack, a 6 dot, a 7 bam. Yeah, there's a few holes in there, but
Right, and you had given up the 6 dot, so maybe that would come back potentially.
we had a 6 dot. Oh yeah, we did just get rid of the 6 dot. Yep. All right, so we don't seem to need the 2 dot or the 7 dot, actually. So let's go ahead and mix this up a little bit. At the same time we're improving our hand, we need to make this as unhelpful for somebody else as possible. So here's 2 tiles. What do we want to do with what would be a 3rd tile to add on to this?
Do the soap.
Yeah.
Because we don't have any anything that it really goes with.
No, we don't. I do have some hesitation of passing a soap and a 2 together, but let's keep this consecutive run intact. I'd rather pass soap and 2. Yeah, just be cautious about what's going with the soap. But I think it could be okay at this point. So let's see what else keeps coming in.
Second left.
All right, we got rid of a 2. Okay, so now look at this. We have 5, 6, 7, 8. So at this point, here's our strength here. Every time you get a new multiple during the Charleston, you want to stop and reassess. So given we've got the 7 and the 8, I'm pretty sure this 3 and 4 is not going to come into play because we've got too far to go from 4 to 8. So I'm going to move these over to the other side of my flower. And I'm going to say at this point we are squarely in a consecutive run, most likely 1 suit. But if we see some other tiles come across that are in this range, in this 5 to 9, we'll keep them. Okay.
I would hold on to the 2 bam just because you have other options.
What other options?
Well, between everything to the right of your flowers, you can mix up, you can do the, no, that would be, okay.
One,
Be the
1,
bam.
2, 3, 4.
What about keeping the dots and it may, well, then you don't really have much to pass if you keep the 1 dot, the 2 dot, and the 3 and the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to, we can't keep all this. We have to pass something. And I think right now our strength is here in the 5 to 9 1 suit. So I think we just passed a 2 bam on the last pass, correct?
Yes.
So we don't want to send another 2 BAM. So I'll tell you one thing I do personally, because we're going, we just did first left and now we're doing second left. I'll watch. If I pass a tile that I'm not quite sure about, because we passed a 2 and a soap. This is a computer, so you can't see, but in real life, I would look and see, does this person put those tiles in their rack, or did they just pass them along? You know, they'll look for 3 and send them on. If they sent them on, I might go ahead and send another 2, but here we have no idea, so I do not want to send another 2. That said, we're going to have to do consecutive numbers at some point, either a 1, 3, 4 or a 1, 2, 4. We've got to do something that's
So you
not
wouldn't hang on to the 4 pair for joker bait for later?
We could, although I'm concerned that if we don't pass the 4s, we're going to be making some really, if we don't break those up now, we could end up having to make some very unpleasant passes.
Got it.
And even potentially, we could get into a point where we'd have to pass both 4s. Yes, the 3, 4, 5, 6 is still in play, but if we get another 5 BAM, another 6 BAM, that only strengthens our single run in the BAMs.
Excuse me, Bonnie,
you
what
have
about
several
that
hands.
single, where is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. But the 6th one down where you have the single and then the double.
Right.
And since you have the 6, which is a single on the pair of the 7.
Yeah.
You got that.
Mm-hmm. I like that a lot, Ronnie. We have one flower as well.
That 6 to come in, a second 6 to come in.
Right. Right. So we will see what comes in. If we get more flowers, I definitely look towards the 4, for the 4 number run, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the 6th consecutive run, all one suit. And if we pair up the 5 and the 6, then we have a lot more options to perhaps stick with the first consecutive run.
Right.
But Cindy, to your point, I am all about keeping the joker bait, but I'm worried if we don't break this up now, we're going to end up with some tiles that we're going to make some very unpleasant passes in the near future. So,
well, this is why I'm here, right? To learn. So this is great.
And again, this is Bonnie's strategy. I'm just talking out loud. I think it's kind of tough, right? You learn to play mahjong, and then you just play, and you don't really get window into other thoughts or strategies or ideas. So my goal here is just to talk through and to hear your opinions on talking through as well.
But Bonnie, you have 2 mandatory passes with everything. Yes. You have 2, 4, 5, you have 6 tiles. Oh, okay. I mean, the likelihood of getting 6 tiles that you're going to use is not high. You would still, because you would have those, you would still break up the pair now?
I would, because also if we don't, we just said we don't want to pass the 2 BAM.
Mm-hmm.
So we could do the 1, 2, 3. We could see if we hold on for a bit. I guess that's really not terribly less defensive than 1, 2, 4. We could hang on to them for 1 more, but I think at the end of the day, they're not going to be in play. I just want to make sure we don't get into a situation where we're going to have to pass unnaturally. But we could do that for now and do for 1 more.
Because you had, you were having to get rid of 6 tiles, and you had 6 tiles to get rid of.
Yes, but what if we got something that was very complementary to the 4s? We could end up having to do 4, 4, 5 in a single suit.
Okay.
I might keep it 1 more, but for sure we'll break it up after that.
Can I ask why you didn't want to give away the 2 BAM?
Because on the first left we gave away a 2 BAM,
Oh, okay.
So I don't want to give another 2-bam to that player.
Right. You have to remember what you gave to somebody.
Right. And now look, we received a 2-bam. So we know there's 3 of them floating around. So now we'll get rid of our east. We'll get rid of our 1. We'll get rid of a 2. Actually, that's a good reason to break up the 4s here because we know there's 2s in circulation.
Right.
And we gave it to we gave it to computer 3 on our first left. It's entirely possible computer 3 gave it to computer 2 on their second left. And we don't want to put another one into their hand right now. So we have to break up one of the pairs. That's just my thinking
Last
about
right.
choosing between the 4. Oh, look, yay, a keeper. All right.
8.
So now we've got some weird passes to do. So we could go ahead and do blind here. I'd rather get a full pass. We know we've been sending this stuff in different directions. It cannot have caught up to it yet. So computer 1 could not have gotten the 2-bams back yet if they continued to be passed around. And we just sent 1 4 across, and now we're sending 1 4 to the right, the 4 cracks. So we know we've dispersed them pretty good right here at the very end of the Charleston.
Is there any way that 2-bam came back to us, or is it too early in the Charleston?
That 2-bam came into our hand immediately after we sent one out of our hand. So we know there's 3 of them in the Charleston.
Okay.
So let's pass that.
Optional across.
And we have an 8 that really probably is not doing anything. But this lets us do a pass here that's not going to be another 1 2 3. So we can send that 8 over, and let's pick a 1 and a 3. 2 odds and even, couple different suits.
But what if that computer 2 is holding on to the 2-bam?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's change and we'll give them the dot instead. And you better believe we're going to dump it pretty quick as we start to play. All right, 4 6. All right, let's go ahead and do another Charleston example, and then we'll play the next one out. Okay, I think this was a fairly successful Charleston. We ended up with 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 tiles towards a hand. Actually, we have 2 different hands for 8 tiles. We could do the 5 through 9, or we could do the 6 through 9 with the flower. So 8 tiles towards 2 different hands, which are very interchangeable. It gives us a lot of runway to keep collecting tiles and not have to make a decision. So I think that was a decent Charleston here. Let's exit. We're going to go through again to talk through Charleston decision making. Come on, new game. There we go. We'll start one over. All right, let's see what
First right.
we get this time.
Oh,
whoa,
nice.
Look at this.
Oh my God.
3 jokers, a pair of 2s, a 9, 1 5 4 9, a soap, north south, pair of south. All right, what do we do? I mean, this is, you know, poor mahjong player, but sometimes when you have 3 jokers, it can be very challenging to pass for 2 reasons. 1, that's just fewer tiles available to pass. And 2, you have fewer number tiles, or you have fewer named tiles in your hand, so it's harder to put together a pattern with those fewer tiles. So again, it's not a bad thing to have.
Well, I think the Winds and Dragons, the second one from the bottom, looks pretty good.
The pair of flowers,
north, south.
North, south in 2020.
Yes.
Right.
That certainly looks good. My hesitation on that is it requires a pair of flowers, and we have none.
Yeah.
What about the quint hand?
Okay, let's look at the quint hand. We
And
could
we could
do,
use the jokers for some of those flowers.
yes. So we have a pair and we have one dragon. So we could look towards quint. I mean, 3 tiles is not a lot towards a hand, but it's a start. What else could we do?
What about, oh, well, you need 3 different 9s if you held out with more for another 9. And the first,
For the north-south? Okay.
no, first in any like numbers.
Any like number.
Okay, we could do any like numbers, but we need some flowers for that as
Right.
well. You know, I was thinking perhaps you were thinking the north and south with
Well,
9.
yeah, then
Yeah.
I looked at that,
That'd be
yes,
good.
We
definitely.
could do that. That gives me a little bit of pause because we have 3 pair in that hand.
Right,
And nothing hurts worse than
not getting a pair.
not getting your pair when you have 3 jokers.
Right.
What about the like numbers? Well, it takes 2 pair of the flowers, but
Yep.
you have 1 dragon going with the 9 and then the,
Yep. So at this point, we've named a couple of different options. Nothing involves a 1, 4, or 5. And since we have 3 tiles to pass, we don't have to think any further. So you don't have to do a full analysis. If we know that there's some tiles we don't need or aren't looking to play with, let's just get rid of those and see what comes in. Because we definitely need more guidance here.
Across.
What did we get? Okay, we have 8, 9. We have 7, 8, 9. This isn't really very helpful stuff. Where do we go?
Looks like some of my hands.
At this point, I'm probably inclined to,
Get rid of what you got.
yeah, I'm probably inclined to just pass those along and see. Another hand we should consider is the 2020 category, the concealed hand. We have most of the 2020. We have some wins, and we don't need flowers for that one. And actually, the really good thing is that the parts where you don't need or where you cannot use flowers, the 2020, we have 3 of those 4 tiles. The para north and the para south, we have 3 of those 4 tiles. So we could use a lot of those jokers for the easts and wests. But we need to see what comes. We still aren't given, we don't have a lot of good direction here.
First left.
Wow, that really didn't help at all either. Nothing paired up, nothing else. Wait, I don't know that I'd keep any of this. I'm just trying to think if there's a way we could change course to optimize more tiles.
What about keeping the 5, 7, and the 9 and the soap and trying on that because you have so many jokers?
Okay. What else would we give up? Excuse me. Although this is our first left, we could do one blind if we'd like, which I think might not be a bad idea since we're straddling so many. I don't know that I'd want to give up any part of the 2020 or the north-south just yet. So let's do one blind and maybe we can get a little more direction and see where we go from there.
Second left.
Ah, look at this,
Nice.
wins. All right, so
Nice.
let's do some wins. And the concealed hand only needs 2 souths, but at the moment, I think we should continue to straddle the
2020 with the 2 flowers, the north.
yes.
but the good thing about doing that 2020 hand is that you have the pairs. With the 9s, you don't.
Right.
You don't even
Yes.
have the third, and you don't have that, you gave away the other 9.
Mm-hmm.
It's gone.
But the advantage of the
Jokers for the winds, the east or the west, whatever you get.
Yes. In fact, actually saying this out loud and listening to you, Ronnie, as well, I actually think I would get rid of this south.
Right.
Yes, because
Yes.
you're not gonna pass 579.
I don't want to pass 579.
It's a
So
hunt.
if we're gonna play the concealed hand in the 2020 section, we only need a pair of norths and a pair of souths.
What
If we
about
do
the-
get some flowers and we end up going to the flowers north south 2020, well, we have 3 dragons, so we can call a north or a south if we need to during play.
And you have 3 jokers, you mean?
The 5th one down.
What did I say? 3 jokers.
You said 3 dragons.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. 3 jokers. So we would have flexibility to call something back, and then this allows us to not pass a 579.
And you're talking about also potentially the 5th one down for the dragons and the winds?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, that's another option. I was talking about the 6th one below it with the 2020
Mm-hmm.
because we have 2 2s and a soap.
Right, but you're more set with the other.
Yes,
because
we're
you
more
want
set with the
there.
concealed hand in the 2020 section. So let's see
Not
what.
even just being more set.
Across.
That was
Okay.
helpful.
So let's switch out the 7 so we're not passing 3 tiles in the same suit. And let's see where we go.
Last right.
Ah.
That was awful.
That was awful. All right, we can get rid of a 7 and 8. I'm trying to think if there's any value to keeping the green.
Potentially, if you picked it up for that one hand we were just talking about, as opposed to the soap.
Yeah, that's a long way to go, but I think I'd rather get a full pass than keep 2 single dragons for what I would consider at this point our plan C. I mean, nothing's perfect. You can't keep it all. It's just you're evaluating risk.
Optional across.
And there's a paired up green. Okay. Mom was right. All right.
I don't have to be right.
7, 9, green. So 3 different suits. We break it up, and let's just keep going.
Wow.
Coming back.
All right. Let's. Do we want to play this one out, or want to do another Charleston?
Let's play this one.
Okay.
Let's see how it ends.
1 crack.
All right.
4 crack.
I don't want a 4 crack.
Red.
No, it's just teasing us.
5 crack.
See, bam. We don't need another 2, but let's
4 crack.
not get rid of it.
7 crack. 8 dot. 1 dot.
4 bam.
4 bam. 8 bam.
Now this is asking me almost every single time if I want to draw it or not.
2 dot.
Because we have so many jokers. It doesn't know what
9
we're
crack.
playing. It says, oh, you could want to call the 9 crack. We don't know. So 3.
3 bam. Green.
Nope.
7 crack.
Nope.
2 dot.
8. I'm a little worried that someone else might have kept wins. We started with 3. We did end up with a 3rd south at one point, but we haven't seen a whole lot. But that's okay, because if we're doing the concealed hand, we have our pairs of north-south set. And a little trick when you're playing this game, you can use depending on if you're playing on a laptop or a computer that has a keyboard, you can press the space bar to pick a tile. And if you don't want it, double tapping the space bar will discard the rightmost tile.
8 crack.
So, i.e. what just
South.
came into your hand, south. No, we'll skip that one. You can also use the space bar to skip when it's asking you about skipping.
9 dot.
Why are you skipping the south?
Because the primary hand that we're looking to play, Judith, is in the 20 section, the
Okay,
concealed hand, and we
Okay.
only need a pair.
Gotcha.
And
But it's concealed, so you couldn't draw anything off the table anyway, right?
correct,
Okay.
correct. But Judith, if you thought we were over on the flower, north-south 2020,
Right.
if we had drawn flowers and we were a little deeper into the game, I would call that. But at this point, it makes me very uncomfortable to commit to that hand without the pair of flowers, without even a flower.
Gotcha. Thank you.
No, I appreciate
West.
the questions. West, all right. Obviously, we can't get that.
Well, if you skipped to doing the fifth Wind's Dragon hand, except for getting
1 bam.
soaps,
5 dot.
you still need the same 3 easts and wests that you could
Yes.
wouldn't be
Yes.
concealed.
Right, but it would be the hand below that, which is where we would have the option to call the south.
Yes, that's
right, and that's where we're not going to commit without those flowers.
No, but I'm thinking because no flower,
Green.
one above it.
Yes,
8 bam.
but we have the 2 2s, so I think I feel most comfortable going towards the concealed, but we'll see how it goes. 5 dot.
5 dot. East.
Oops, there's one of each.
2 crack.
That's okay. We only need a pung of east and
2
a pung of
crack.
west. 3.
3 bam. 5 bam.
Nope.
3 dot. 6 bam.
Ah, okay. We have a flower. That's good. Let's go ahead and jettison one of the 9s because the flower also gives us some options towards the quint hand. We have 3 2s. We have a dragon and we have a flower. So that's the first hand. So
9 bam. 5 crack. Red. East.
all right. So if we pair up the flower, I would absolutely switch gears to play the pair of flowers with the north-south in 2020.
Totally.
3 crack. 4 crack. 7 bam. 8 crack.
What do we get? Ah, we have a west. All right. So as soon as I say that, we get a tile for the other hand, of course.
9 bam.
I'm going to put my 2 over here.
1 crack.
I like to organize my hand so that
7
I've
bam.
got all my discards at one side and I can see clearly. And
7 crack.
when possible, if I use a joker or a flower or something to delineate the keep from the not keep. So I'm not having to make that decision on the fly. 7 bam. You always want to have your next discard identified so that when you pick a tile, you don't have to decide on the spot if you want to keep it or not. You can pick a tile, you put it in your hand, you already know what your next discard is.
7 bam.
In this case, we know very much that
West.
we do or don't need a 7 right away. That
4
doesn't require
crack.
a lot of thought. But
2 crack. 6 bam.
let's see.
1 bam. 6 crack.
Okay.
6 crack.
Come on, let's get another keeper. No.
3 dot. 5 crack. 9 bam.
Nope. Come on.
8 bam.
A red. No, there's already 2 discarded. We're still in better shape as far as number of tiles towards the concealed hand. Nope, actually it's the same count. Never mind. In one we would use the west, in the other we would use the flower.
Red. 5 dot. 6 bam. North.
We don't need it.
3 crack. 1 crack.
There's only been 1 north and 1 south discarded.
1 dot.
So even if we switch back over to the one that requires the
5
kongs,
dot.
we still have the jokers to cover. 1 bam. Nope.
1 bam.
Come on.
4 dot. Green. 6 bam. 9 bam.
Just
3
a matter
bam.
of waiting.
Flower.
Nope.
Green.
That would have been nice if somebody else had called it and we could have grabbed the joker for that
3
flower.
crack. 1 dot.
Are we just playing against the
East.
computer here?
There's 3 computers, yes.
So no one's calling anything?
The computers will call if they want it, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
They're smart. They're actually really good.
5 bam.
They're hard to beat.
Call.
Oh, there we go.
8 dot.
Oh,
They
okay.
can even put up a joker for anybody. Jeez.
9 crack.
Oh, look, we got our pair of flowers. All
2
right.
bam. 8 dot.
Let me reorganize the hand. So the west is what we will get rid of. And let's see, there's been 1 north and 1 south discarded. Okay, so there's still 1 of each left, so we can, we're good. Oh, we still need a soap, and none of those have been discarded yet. So
2 dot.
nope.
West.
West, no. 2 crack.
2 crack.
I
Flower.
am concerned that we're going this deep without seeing a soap yet.
6 crack.
Mhm.
2 bam.
Personally, if you're this far into the game, and if you look over here on the bottom left, it says 15 tiles left. If nobody's thrown a soap yet, do not throw a soap. So following good strategy, I don't expect to see the soap come out anymore at this point, but you never know. But don't you throw a
1
soap
dot.
with this far to the end.
Flower.
You could still be among the 13 tiles.
Absolutely.
You might draw it, you don't know.
We could draw it, right? I'm just
Well,
saying
Flower.
if you're, yes.
Isn't it with so few tiles left risky to throw flowers?
It is, only that several have been thrown and nobody's called them. So I
Okay.
guess people are feeling it safe, but absolutely, Greta, if no flowers had been thrown, or if no flowers had been thrown in a very long time, maybe early in the game, but we had flower, 5
Yeah,
discards go flower, and then another 8 or 10 before that. I guess people are feeling it's safe,
Okay.
but generally you just never know.
Is anybody aware of who's throwing the flowers? I mean, has everybody been throwing flowers?
I haven't been counting. Obviously, 2 in a row is 2 different people.
Right.
1, 2, 3. The one that was just discarded, it looks like the same person as this one over here.
Right.
We'll see.
So
5 crack.
that 5th car, Winds and Dragons now?
That's where I'd like to go. Yes. Because we have our flowers
7
paired.
bam.
We can call
East.
a north or a south. And we'd be ready to win on a soap.
7
Or if
crack.
we draw the soap, then we're ready to win on a north or a south.
1 crack.
Oh, we have another joker. All right.
Oh,
So
my
now we're ready to
God.
win on a soap,
West.
which I don't expect to get
8
tossed,
crack.
but we could see.
8 bam. 3 dot.
All right, it's gonna be our last pick. Nope.
8 crack. Red.
Nope.
North. Wall
Ah,
game. Wall
boo.
game.
Let's see who had him.
Someone had it.
Where are they? Ah, here they all are in computer 3's hand.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So
And they
that's
weren't
a
gonna throw
bummer. They weren't going to throw it. I don't know if they had perhaps been trying to do the evens with the soaps in the middle, or maybe that went dead and they were trying to switch to 4, 5, 6 with the soaps. Let's see. Computer 2 was trying to do the 2-suit hand, 4, 5, 6, 7, it looks like. And computer 1, this looks like
Nine.
the concealed 3, 6, 9.
3, 6, 9, yeah.
Single pair pung, single pair pung. They weren't terribly close, but not that far. Bummer. All right, so we got ready to win. However, that was a little disappointing in that it it should feel
Close.
easier with 3 flowers from the deal.
Three jokers.
3 jokers. Gosh, 3 jokers from the deal. I feel like it would have been, we should have had an easier time of it, but not always. But we did end up with that flower pair, so that's
We didn't
good.
have things that went together to begin with.
Yeah, oh no, we had junk at the beginning.
I thought it was good though how you analyzed to change it from a closed hand to the other side, the winds.
Yeah, thanks. Because we definitely had more flexibility to play the closed hand.
Right.
But with the flower void, you know, that made it very risky. But once we had the flowers paired, we had lots of flexibility to call the north or the south and just be ready to win.
Right, because the closed hand, you're really locked in. You can't pick up anything.
No, but we were pretty good, even though we had no east. Well, we picked 1 west,
Uh-huh.
but between the easts and the west, that's 6 tiles. And we had 3 flowers and a west. So we really only needed 2 more to fill in there. It really wasn't that far away because the east and the west was the only place we could use the jokers in that hand.
Right.
All right, let's start again. What do we got here? Pair of flowers, yay. A 2 bam, a 9 bam, 1 crack, 8 crack. Pair of 1 dots, okay, we have a pair. 3, 4, 5, 8, green, red. So let's see, we got our pair of 1s, yay. Pair of 1s, pair of flowers. What else do we have here that we want to keep to support flowers and 1s?
Well,
the other one.
Keep another 1, sure. What else?
3, 4, and 5 dots,
Sure.
and maybe your 2 bams.
2 bam. All right.
Would you keep the dragons?
Keep dragons. Sure. All right. 8, 8, 9, not the best pass. Is there anything that maybe
Why would you keep the 2 bam?
just because we're looking consecutive, it could be in our range, but
Okay.
I would rather get rid of the 2 bam than pass an 8, 8, 9.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
So now we can do a 2, a 9, and 1 of the 8s. So it's what's better for you and what's worse for somebody else. 8, 8, 9 is an awfully good pass to somebody else compared to the 2, which is of low value to us at this point. All right,
Across.
so we paired up our green. Okay. we really don't have to think anymore. We have 3 tiles we can pass. We have a south, a 4, and an 8. I mean, yes, we paired up a green. Great. We can go with that, but we don't need to go any further as far as hurting our head on decisions.
Well, what
First
about
left.
the second one down on dragons? If you held on to,
Oh, the flowers, actually, that's a good idea. But now it's
but you
gone.
didn't get
Maybe it'll
anything
come back.
anyway.
All right, so we have another 1, and we've paired up a 4 dot. Okay, let's reassess. Now we have 4 pairs that don't have a whole lot to do with each other. We have a pair of 1 dots, a pair of 4 dots, a pair of greens, and a pair of flowers. So we're going to need to choose something because right now we only have 1 pass. And yes, this is blind, but we're going to have to make a decision at the moment or in a moment because we're sure not going to stop the pass. Don't stop the pass because of indecision. Okay? If you've got 6 tiles for one hand and 6 tiles for another and you can't pull 3 out, don't stop the pass because then you finish the Charleston and you have 6 tiles, which is not great. Make a decision and go through the second Charleston again. Because also if you stop the pass, nobody's going to give you an across.
Bonnie, can you explain to me what you mean by stop the pass?
So the 2 Charlestons, we do each Charleston consists of 3 passes. So our first Charleston is right across left. And that's compulsory. You have to do a right across left. If everybody agrees, then you do the second Charleston, which is left across right. If one person says they don't want to do a second Charleston, there is no second Charleston. And then you go directly on to the optional across. Whether or not you do 1 or 2 Charlestons, you always have the optional across. However, if the person across from you stops the Charleston, and then they ask you for 2 tiles in the optional, you just say, no, thank you.
No, thanks.
It's not rude. It's if their hand is that good that they are stopping the Charleston, the tiles that you would give them are probably way more beneficial than the tiles they would give you. So just from a strategy standpoint, you just say, no, thank you. That's okay. So this is our first left. We are in no place to want to stop the passing after this. So let's make a decision now. We sure don't want to go blind. Let's figure out what we can do here and get a full pass. So what are some options?
2 really good ones that I see.
Okay, what do you see?
The second one down on the consecutive and the second one up on the consecutive.
Second one down on the consecutive. Oh, 3, 4, 5? Yes.
Right, and the second one up on the consecutive.
Yeah.
Is that where you were saying too, Greta? The consecutive with the
second
dragons?
one, yeah, the 1, 2, 3 dragons.
Okay.
Right.
So, oops. So if we're keeping all those tiles, we have a bit of an issue. That leaves us 4 ones to pass. In this instance, I would go ahead, it's not never, but I would probably go ahead and do 2 ones. I'd rather get the full pass, and I sure don't want to be left with 3 ones. Let's just at least try to get something out. So this is an instance where I would pass a pair because I do want to keep the 3, 4, 5, which we could do with flowers and 3, 4, 5 or 3, 4, 5 with the green and red. You know what? I'm just going to switch one more thing. So we have 3 different suits. A crack, a dot, and a bam. Always take a look at your 3 tiles together before you complete your pass. Sometimes you'll take them out of your rack one at a time. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. Before you slide them on, look at the 3 tiles together because sometimes you might not be thinking about it as you pull them out one at a time, but suddenly you flip them all over and you go, huh, that's 2, 4, 6 in the same suit. And so always check out what they look like all together. All right, let's keep going.
Second left.
Second left. Well, we have a 6. We should keep this, right? Because that gives us flexibility where the hand goes. It also introduces a new hand as an option, which is the consecutive run, 3, the 6th hand down, the single suit with 4 flowers, single pair pung kong. And we have the single and the pair if we were playing 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's keep all those. We've got a dot, a bam, and a 9. All right.
A cross.
Goodness, with the ones.
Right.
Let's just keep going. We'll end up having to pass a pair here anyhow. I'd rather pass the 8s and stop putting any more 1s than necessary in circulation because we know there's a lot out there. That's just my thinking. And I'm still in the mindset that I'd rather pass a pair and keep all of these options in play. We know we're going to play something in the consecutive run category. We have 3 fairly decent options. So I'd rather keep all of those open rather than giving one up at this point.
Last right.
Oh my gosh, like really? More 1s. The only thing I would say is clearly nobody wants these, so I'm not that concerned anymore about continuing to pass the 1s. Let's go ahead and get a full, oh wait, 4.
Oh,
what am I doing? What am
no.
I doing? Yeah, I would still do this and get a full pass. The 4, I think, was the one tile that we did not need to have paired up. I mean, we did not need more than a pair of all the ones there. But of course we keep it. So let's see where we go with this.
Optional across.
You know what? I'm
Are you
pairing
doing
up.
the dragons for a reason?
The dragons are very good for the consecutive run. The next to the bottom, we have 3 numbers in 1 suit, and then opposite dragons. So we have a run of dots, and then we would go with greens and reds.
Okay.
After pairing, or after getting this pung of 4s, I'm going to go ahead and keep this 1 dot because it would put us in play, it would allow another hand in play instead of a 3, 4, 5, 6 with the Kong of flowers, that 6th hand down in the consecutive run that's all 1 suit. Perhaps we could do 1, 2, 3, 4. So I would keep this 1 dot now. Just the 1, that's all we need. All right, look, we got a red. So I am not opposed to the good old-fashioned counting the number of tiles. Let's just see which should be our primary that we think is most likely. We still have discard. So we have the, what should we count up first? Let's count up we'll go in order. So the 2nd hand down, 4 flowers with 3 numbers. So we have 2 flowers. It would probably be the 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 tiles. That's not bad. Or what's the next one that down? The 4 flowers with 4 numbers, the single pair pung kong in 1 suit. So we could have 2 flowers. We could do 1. We don't have 2s. 3, 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Same 7 for that hand. Or the one below that, 1, 2, 3 in 1 suit, and then dragon, dragon. We would do 4, 5, 6 green, red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that one actually is the most tiles, of course, since it's the concealed. But we have some discards. We have some room to play with here. So let's just see where it goes. We might have to make a decision fairly soon.
9 crack. 8 dot. 4 crack. 1 dot.
Soap. Ah. So this introduces another option. of the 1, 2, 3, fourth hand down. We're still in consecutive run. This is 3 numbers with a matching dragon. So we could do 3, 4, 5 dragon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we had a 6, a 7, a 7, and a 9. I think I'd ditch it.
Jokers.
We have other options that are much stronger, and that's how we're going to whittle it
Soap.
down.
1 bam. 1 bam. Red.
We can't pick it. That's okay. 5 dot. All right.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. So what do we get rid of?
1.
Or a 4.
The one
You mean a flower?
No, a 4 dot, because if you're
No.
gonna stick with that hand with the jokers.
You can do.
You don't have
consecutive
jokers.
Dragons.
But now you
And
could,
dragons.
no, because you could use the 5 dots as pairs and make it 4, 5, 6 with the 2 dots.
Exactly.
That's
Mhm.
Yep.
true. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Agree. And then as far as the 4 numbers in a row, now we have more tiles in the 3 through 6 that we'd have to discard 2 5s now if we kept the 1. So I think the 1 is now the least used tile in our set.
1 dot. 1 dot.
We knew those were all
8
out there.
crack.
Look at the discards. 1 dot, 1 bam,
7
1 bam.
crack.
6 crack. That does nothing for us.
6 crack. 9 bam. 8 bam. West.
All right, come on. 4 bam. That does nothing for us.
4 bam. 8 dot. 1 crack. 4 bam.
4 crack. Nope.
4 crack.
Come on.
South. 2 bam. 1 dot.
6 bam. Nope. Come on.
6
We need
bam.
dots.
South.
Dragons. Where we need
Jokers.
South.
flowers or jokers. Yes, I'll take the
8 crack.
jokers. Actually, at this
8
point, I'd
bam.
actually rather have number tiles.
South.
If we get a joker, then we have to make decisions.
3 bam. 5 crack.
1 crack. I think
1
all the ones
crack.
are out now, just about.
1 bam.
Nope, I guess not.
6 crack. 7 crack.
9. We're not there.
9 dot. 5 bam. 2 dot. Call. 7 dot.
Interesting.
9 crack. West.
Somebody else
5 bam.
dots.
East.
It's possible they could be playing some low dots.
8 dot.
When we look at the discards at a glance, there are no dots in our range that have been discarded at all.
Except for the 1 dots.
Except for the 1, right? But the 3, 4, 5, 6,
Right. Nothing.
nothing. So with computer 1 over here putting up 2s, it does give me a little bit of pause, but we'll see. Oh, there we go, 5. So what do we do?
The 3 is very valuable here
Yes.
to exchange for a joker eventually.
Mm-hmm. But what do? We have the 2 pungs in a row.
The 5.
Why?
Because I assume that computer 1 might be playing the consecutive 2, 3, 4 maybe. The
Well,
1 is not being used.
The 1's not being used. I will say I'm less concerned about computer 1 playing because we have 3 4s and 3 5s. They could be using the 3s. But so let's talk this out. The 3 hands that we're still looking at, we're looking at the one with the dragons, and the number sequence is pung, pair, pung. So with 3, 4, 5, either the 4 or the 5 is not needed. If
Right,
we're
and they're more
talking,
likely to use the 3.
if we're looking at the 4 numbers in a row with 4 flowers, that tells us we have an extra 4.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And if we're looking at the
Or an
second
extra 5.
hand, for the 4 numbers in a row, 3 through 6, we would have 1 3, 2 4s,
Yes.
3 5s, and 4 6s. For the second hand down with 4 flowers and 3 numbers in a row, we would do 4s, 2 5s, and then 4 6s.
4 6s.
At this point,
What would you think that they were going for based on?
I have no idea.
There's 1 2 bam up. They're not doing 2 4 6 8.
Agree, they're probably not doing 2 4 6 8, or at least right, because the 8s, we have 3 8s out. There's only 1 2. We don't see any 2 cracks.
They could be doing 2s.
They could be doing 2s.
Flowers.
Yep.
Flowers.
Flowers. They could, yeah, they could be doing.
Even the consecutive different suits, 2, 3, 4 in different suits.
Sure, absolutely. I'm inclined to let go of the 4. From the standpoint of the hand with the dragons, it's equal because we only have 1 3 and 1 6. But by letting go of the 4, we're still in okay shape for the 4 number run. Whereas if we get rid of the 5, we'd end up with an extra 4 anyhow.
Which hand with the dragons are you talking about?
The concealed hand in the consecutive run, the second from the bottom. So we would do 3 4 5 dragon dragon. We had the option to do 4 5 6, but then we'd get rid of a 5. This way we could still play the single suit, 4 flowers, single pair pong pong. So just evaluating all those and the usefulness in each hand, I think 4 is the least likely.
8 crack. Green.
Yep.
7 dot.
It's okay. So 1 red has been thrown and 1 green has been thrown. And that's okay because we only need pungs. 2, that's nothing. Let's see if computer 1 takes it.
2 bam.
Nope.
3 bam. 3 bam. 6 bam.
North. Huh, we've seen it some wins
North.
out. I don't know that anybody's doing them.
4 dot.
4 dot.
That's it.
Well,
Now.
we actually don't need a call. We just discarded because we only need a pair if we're playing the exposed hands. So we don't need that.
2 crack. Call. 4 bam.
All right.
7 crack. 8 bam.
So let's pause a second. What could they be playing? We have like number Kongs. I didn't get to that slide yet with like numbers. So like number Kongs.
Or the first 2020.
Second hand
Second
down.
one.
The second hand down.
Where are we on the like
On the-
numbers?
Any like numbers with the dragons.
Although they didn't pick up the 2 red.
Yeah, they left the 2
discarded, so that's unlikely.
But those are pairs, so they wouldn't be able
Right.
to call the dragon.
And they got rid of a 2 bam.
Oh, so they're playing the first one on the 2020.
I would agree most probably. Also because we have a couple of reds. So at most they could have 1 in their hand because 1's sitting on the table. There's only 1 soap out, but who knows? They could have a pair of soaps and 1 red. But I think the chances are, I guess they could be playing
50-50.
Yeah. Either way. So they're either playing the first hand in the 2020, pair of flowers, 2020, 2s and 2s, or the first hand in the any like number, flowers, twos, twos, twos. And it's possible they just didn't have enough and enough jokers to cover the twos when they were thrown. Or flowers, twos and dragons, twos and dragons. All of those are viable. We do know they need a pair of flowers. That is the one thing that we know for sure. So let's watch what they discard.
North. 6 bam. 4 bam. 3 crack.
All right. Now what? 3, 4, 5, 6. What do we do?
I think you have to throw, no, not the dragons. Take away.
So the decision point here is, do we pursue the exposed hand with 4 flowers, 3, 4, 5, 6? Or do we pursue the concealed hand, 3, 4, 5, dragon, dragon? So let's just count just to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tiles to do flowers 3, 4, 5, 6. Or to do 3, 4, 5 and dragons is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Even.
No, you don't have that because if you do the dragons, you have to dump one of the 5s.
No, we do 3, 4, 5.
Ah, okay.
Even though we have the 6s paired, we had made the decision before that we were going to have the 4s in the middle.
Okay.
Or I guess it's one way or the other. We could dump a 5 and use the 4s and the 6s, but it would be 6 tiles either way. Either 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, or 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6.
Except
so we have 10 tiles.
You'd only need 1 4, whereas you need 2 3s the other way.
Yes.
And it's equally risky as far as a discard because they would either need a flower or a red.
So this just kind of also goes on an appetite for risk, right? We've got the same number of tiles. 10 tiles is a lot for a hand that requires 14. The exposed hand, we're actually not in a position to call anything because we need a Kong of flowers and a Kong of 6s, and we only have 2 each. But then likewise, if we're playing a concealed hand, we obviously can't call either.
But if
you think that people would, you're holding the dragons, would you think that everybody else would be more reluctant to throw the flowers because they could potentially have that and not as likely that they would have there's only 1 more red out and 2 green?
You know, that's an excellent point. So I'll just restate it in a different way. Right, so because as we did the assessment, computer 1 of the 3 hands that we listed, all of them require flowers. So what she's saying is other players might be more reluctant to throw flowers because they know computer 1 needs it. Since we need flowers here, that might be harder to get if nobody's going to throw them. So that's casting a vote towards continuing to march on to the concealed hand. Does that make sense?
Yes, unless you get a joker, but you don't know.
But what I'm saying is even if we have a joker, because everybody knows computer 1 needs flowers, the other hands might not throw flowers. We might not even be able to call because others might be guarding them. Okay? So since we're pretty even, I think that's a very good logic to use, and we'll go that way. Also taking a look down here, we have 37 tiles left. A wall is 38 tiles, right? 19 times 2. So if you want a visual in your mind, we are at the beginning of the last wall. So we've got somewhere to go. This is about the point where you'd want to start discarding, quote, risky tiles. You don't want to save them any further to the end. So I think this is actually the perfect point to start discarding the flowers. Maybe it gives a mahjong, but let's get them out of our hand at this point anyhow. Maybe somebody else needs them and puts them up with jokers. But I think going towards the concealed hand is probably playing the odds a better way to go at this point.
Flower.
Oh, and nobody picked
West.
it. Good. Let's get rid of it
3
again.
dot. 9 bam.
Oh, and a joker. All right, let's get another
Flower.
Yep.
Soap. 1 bam. East.
Oh, look at this. 2 jokers. All right.
6 dot. Mahjong.
Ah. Oh, geez, we would have been like 1 away there.
Oh, wow.
All right, nice hand. So that was the concealed 3, 6, 9. Let's see, computer 2 was doing the similar, the concealed 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, that last hand. And looks like they were bluffing. They did a computer 1. Not bluffing, but they didn't have anything else beyond the 2s and the 2s.
So Bonnie, why didn't you get rid of the 3 and stick with the 4, 5, 6?
We had already whittled down the 4s, and we had already said that that was going to be our pair.
But you had a joker you could have used, right? In there.
Right, we would have had to get rid of a 5.
Okay. Okay.
Either way, we would have either needed to get rid of the 2 6s or get rid of a 3 and a 5.
Okay.
It's the same. Yeah, bummer. We chose wrong.
Okay.
Yep.
Not the first time, nor the last.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I'm looking at my watch.
If you don't get a joker early on, sometimes it's very hard, like which way to go.
It is. You guys want to do one more game? I'd like to do a stretch the legs and take a short bio break, but then if you guys are interested, we could do this one more time.
I'm going to need to leave. Thank you so much, Bonnie. I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too, but I thank you for all your information.
Thank you.
Very helpful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll stay with a break.
Okay. Let's take 5. I'm going to go take a bio break and stretch your legs for sure. Even.
Thank you, Bunny.
I'll be right back.
Honey? Where's Brian? Why? Here, I want to get my cards tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Where's your stuff where I can put this here?
Hey, Bonnie, I'm gonna sign off.
Signing off.
I made you the co-host so you can stay on.
Bonnie just texted me that her computer froze.
Oh.
So she didn't hear what people, I took a
Okay,
break
I'm back.
before.
Oh.
Did anybody want to continue on, or?
I was
I
just
still
gonna
see a
say,
lot of.
Bonnie, that I'm gonna sign off, but I made you a co-host so you guys can keep going.
Ah, great.
Okay.
Thanks, Julia.
You're
It
welcome.
looks like we still have a solid dozen people on, so I'm guessing most folks wanted to.
Sorry.
Continue. No, you're fine. I was just, I texted Mom right after I asked if people wanted to take a break and continue one more time or be done. My computer froze up, so I didn't hear what anybody said afterwards. But I came back from the bathroom and I see that there's still a dozen people here, so we'll do this one more time. And then I think my brain's done. All right, it looks like we have just about everybody back. And this will be our last one for the night. All right. Again, I'd say overall that was a pretty successful hand. We had a lot of options. We were able to straddle them for a very long time. And then we made some good decisions as to what to discard when we needed to make decisions to whittle it down.
Always
Unfortunately,
play a concealed hand, because you I start out playing them, and then when you don't get any jokers or everything gets on the table, it's sometimes so hard to switch back. So I tend to stay away from them, but I guess you shouldn't really. You should just...
I hear that a lot, Greta. I know some people say, I never even look at the concealed hands, or I never even look at the singles and pairs category. Sometimes it just dictates that it's trying to tell you where to go.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And tell us again, Bonnie, what you said, when you play on your computer, if you don't, if it keeps saying to you, skip, you can just hit your space bar and it'll do it for you? Oh,
Yep.
I never did that. Okay.
And then likewise, because I'm on a computer, so a space bar is also for pick, and it brings a tile into your hand. And then if you don't want it, a double space bar gets rid of that, whatever tile is on your rightmost side of your hand, which is where the one that comes in lands.
Okay.
I will say I've been pretty trigger happy sometimes, and space bar, skip, and I've more than once skipped a tile that I wanted to call just because that was my automatic reflex.
You want to mention about the exchange also with the jokers?
Sure. So there's a couple different ways to pass a tile during the Charleston or to exchange tiles when you're doing jokers. So one way to pass a tile is you would click it and drag it until you see the color change and then let go. I find that a little tedious. You can simply double click the tile and you don't have to do the click and drag. Likewise, when you go to redeem a joker, the way to do it is you click, or one way is you can click and drag on top of the joker that you want to replace and let go. Although sometimes if you miss the tile and you end up in the middle, that becomes a discard.
Yes, exactly.
So all you have to do is you double click on the joker and it will do the exchange for you.
That's much safer.
Yes, much safer. All right. And obviously that doesn't work if you don't have a keyboard. All right, no jokers. What do we have? Pair of flowers, 3 bam, 9 bam, 2, 6, 7, 8 crack, 3, 5, 6, 9 red east. I found myself doing this now as we've moved to online play. Just saying the tiles out loud, sometimes your ear can hear the repetition. Like, oh, I heard 9 a couple times. I heard 6 a couple times. I heard 3 a couple times. Obviously, that doesn't work when you're playing in real life, but All right, so what do we got here? We have no pairs to start with besides our flowers, but that doesn't really give us any direction. We only have one east and one dragon. We're probably not going to the winds category. What jumps out to you as far as just a category? Are we evens? Are we odds? Are we consecutive? Are we 3, 6, 9? We just need a starting point.
I see 3, 6, 9.
3, 6, 9s.
I see 3, 6, 9 also. So let's just collect all of our 3, 6, 9s down here. And it looks like we have plenty of tiles to pass. So let's just do that. We don't have to overthink it. We have a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, 6, 9s.
They cross.
We got none. All right, that's fine. We can still keep going. 1 dot. This is a perfectly fine pass to keep together. You know what? Let's just swap so we have an even and an odd instead of all odds. Just trying to make it as unhelpful as possible for where it's going to somebody else. All right, we have
First
a 6.
left.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. And we still don't have to make decisions. We have tiles to pass. 1, 2, 8. 3 different suits, evens, odds, the big spread.
Second left.
We have a soap. Let's hang on that for a moment. When I look at the 3, 6, 9 category, there's only one hand that has dragons in it. And it's a matching dragon. At the moment, we only have one crack. So I'm thinking if we're going to be in the 3, 6, 9 category, this red does not come into play.
Right.
So just in the interest of mixing things up a little bit more, we'll do that. There
They
we go.
cross.
We have another 3. And we have tiles to pass. We don't have to make any more decisions.
Last
And
right.
send those on. So I have no idea what hand we're playing, and that doesn't matter. We're just collecting 3, 6, 9s. And as long as we have discards, we don't need to decide. Don't overthink that in the Charleston. You don't have to
Optional
narrow
cross.
it down. Obviously, we're not passing 2 soaps. I don't even want to pass 1 soap, so let's just send those 2 over. All right. So before we get started, let's just take a look and see what hands look good. We have a pair of flowers. We have 3, 6, 9 bam, 3, 6 crack, a 3, 6, 9 dot, and a pair of soaps.
Well, there's a second one down that's 3, 6, 9, and then 3s.
Right. Now just take note in the parentheses there, that could be like 3s or like 6s or 9s. Yep.
Right.
So one thing to take note of here, looking at our hand, is we don't even have a pair in this.
Right.
Which is okay, but let's try to stay a little further away from hands with Kongs, maybe, since we don't even have 2 of a kind. That would just be a point. One thing that kind of irks me about the 3, 6, 9 category is that there's only 2 hands with flowers, one of which is concealed, and both of which are only 2.
Right.
I discovered this one time when I had 4 flowers in my hand, and the numbers clearly dictated a 3, 6, 9. There's nothing there that requires more than 2 flowers. So if we want to use the flowers, I think realistically, the only option at this point would be the concealed hand.
That's 3 concealed hands tonight.
I know. Sometimes it says where to go. We don't have a majority of anything as far as a single suit. And I hesitate to go towards Kongs at this point. For
We've got
example,
singles and pairs, depending upon what comes in.
yes, that's another one. Anytime that should always trigger alarm bells when you say, man, I don't even have a pair and I don't even have a joker. Like, hey, let's look in singles and pairs, because again, there's a singles and pairs hand that corresponds to each category on the card. So if we look at the 369 singles and pairs hand, we have 336, 33669, and 336699. So I think that's certainly a one to consider also. We don't need to make decisions yet. We have lots of discards to go before we need to make a decision, and we're not in a place to call anything at this point. So let's just gather and see what comes in until we get to a decision point that needs to be made.
8 dot call.
Whoa.
9 crack.
Not even a joker.
7. 6 dot.
Okay, so far we've had a 9 and a 6 as 2 of the first 3 tiles discarded. So let's just keep that in mind. 7.
7 bam call.
Are you kidding
1
me?
crack.
Ah, okay, quiz.
West. 7 dot.
Quiz from earlier tonight. When you see
Okay.
consecutive Kongs in 2 different suits, what hand is it?
Second one down.
Yes, with a pair in the middle.
Because they're consecutive numbers.
getting-
It's the
Consecutive
fifth one down.
Kongs.
Sorry.
7, 8. Oh, right.
The
Uh-oh.
fifth
Yep.
one down.
Yep, it's the
Yeah.
5th one down. Right, Vivian? So what do they need?
They need cracks.
4, 5, 6 cranks.
Yep.
5.
So let's
4, 5, 6.
get rid of our 6 crack, and let's decide that the hand we're going to be playing does not involve 6 cracks. And let's get rid of it right now. Okay? So we know that. Consecutive Kongs, that's the only hand. Let's just get rid of our 6 crack.
6 crack. Mahjong.
Okay, that's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
That's not fair.
That's not fair. Let's do this again. I
Oh
don't even
my
want to look at
God.
the other stuff. That was,
That was ridiculous.
come on. I think there were
That was
6
as much-
discards.
Whoa.
Wow.
All right,
Somebody complained that the computer wins all the time.
They win a lot. They are
Yes.
very good. Absolutely. That was kind of ridiculous. All right, let's try this again. That was not a real hand. Or a real game. Pair of flowers, pair of 2s, 5s, 7, 8, and crack. 7, I'm sorry, BAMs. We have a single 7 crack, 5, 8, 9 dots, north and east. All right. Where do we go with this?
5, 7, 9.
I think we're at either 5, 7, 9, or perhaps some consecutive run, 5 through 9. We have a couple of 8s in there. 5, 7, 8. The north, the 2. Yeah, let's give up one of the 8s. I'd rather do that than start off passing a pair of wins, and we're definitely not passing a pair of a number at this point. Also, another bummer that I've discovered with regard to flowers, in the odd category, only 2 hands with flowers. Again, the concealed hand and the multiplication hand.
Multiplication, yeah.
That's it. So
Why wouldn't you keep the 2s, the double 2s, in case you get 2, 3, 4, 5?
that's a lot of chasm between that.
That
So
we don't have.
We don't have that. And then if we look at what tiles support that, besides the 2s, everything else in our hand that's a number tile is between 5 and 9.
Okay.
So that is clearly the strength of the hand, and that's the direction we want to take it.
Okay.
If you're giving away a wind,
what's that?
wouldn't you want to hold on to the north and give away the east since you're dealing with odds, not knowing what would come in?
Here's my thoughts on that. The hand that has the north and south with odds doesn't use flowers. And I'd rather get rid of the wind that doesn't match the number tile I'm giving. I don't want to give an even with an east.
Okay.
So let's just pick one of the 8s. I don't think it matters a whole lot. Let's see what comes in.
A cross.
Now check this out. So we still don't really need to make a decision because we have another 8, a 2, and a wind. Right? We're keeping the 5, 7, 9s. We don't know what we're doing with them yet, but we have tiles to pass, so we don't have to decide yet.
First left.
2, 4, 6.
The
Yeah,
fifth-
we don't.
The 5th hand down looks interesting too. Well, there's no flowers, but
The
this-
5, 7, 7, 7, 9. Yep, I would agree.
yeah.
But we don't even have to decide yet. We have tiles we can keep passing. I'm gonna put this guy over here as my mark.
Second left.
All right, we have another 7 and another flower. All right, so now let's see what we've got.
Bonnie, what's your thoughts on passing flowers?
I don't do it unless I have to.
Yeah.
As even if we're not playing with them, if I don't have to pass it, the flowers, they're the most versatile tile on the card. They're in every category. There's no suit. They are very useful tiles. I don't want to give those useful tiles to anybody else. Again, it's not never, but I'd say that. All right, we got to figure something out here, guys. We've got 3 flowers, pair of 5s, pair of 7s, pair of 7s, 5, 7, 9s, and we actually have 6s. Let me slot these in where they live, and let's see if anything else.
But you could do any like numbers with the flowers and the 7s.
Yep, we're in pretty good shape for that. Agreed.
But no jokers, but
What about you couldn't take a chance on the 5 times 7?
Oh yeah, we're in good shape for that. We could do the
Yeah.
5 bams, the 7 cracks,
7 cracks, and
we have the 5 dot. Yep. So I like both of those as options. I was looking to see if we could do this 5, 6, or 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. Let's not play a concealed hand this time.
good idea.
Given a choice. So let's see. We said we want to keep the 7s and also the tiles that would allow us to play the 5 and 7 is 35. So that's a 9, 6, 6. Not a great pass. Let's just do one blind here. I'd rather do a 6, 9 than a 6, 6, 9. Oh, this is second.
Yeah, you can't do it second.
I can't do that second. I'd probably go ahead and pass this. I think yes, it's all in one category, but I think we have a lot of good stuff going on here elsewise. I would just keep it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of course it's split. Okay, not the most defensive pass, but I'd rather keep 8 tiles for 2 different hands and see what keeps coming in.
across,
All right, we have another 7 dot. So at this point, I probably would say not the multiplication hand. We have 7s in all suits. So let's go ahead. I'm going to break up the 5 BAMs right now. I don't want to be left with a pair of 5 BAMs.
last right,
The 9s, nope. All right, so we can go 9. When we did get the 5, we did get a 35, but
35 is the wrong suit anyhow.
well, then we would switch it to the cracks with the dots with the 35, but that's not nearly as many. Nah, all right. Stop thinking that way. We'll just get rid of those.
optional across,
And 9s. Okay, we can do 2 east, 9. Or 5s. All right, so we have like numbers, clearly. We're actually in lovely shape if we wanted to do that 5, 7, 7, 9 had we kept our 5s and 9s, but I still think we're in much better shape with these 3 flowers to play the last like number hand. We have 5 flowers, a pair, a pong, a Kong. I think this is just beautiful.
What about doing the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 with the pairs in between in case somebody throws out flowers, somebody picks flowers and there are jokers available.
Yeah, that's a really good place to go too. So I'll keep
That is
those pair
good.
of 5s. I know we had some 9s going around as well, but let's see if flowers come in. I mean, if jokers come in or if flowers come in, we'll see what works. So I'm just going to double click this tile, or I could just double space
4
bar.
BAM,
And let's
5 dot, red, 1 crack,
oh, joker. Nice. That'll
8
work.
dot, 1 dot, 2 dot, 6 BAM,
This just teases us, like it wants us to go back to that multiplication hand. No, we're not going to do it.
5 crack, 8 dot, 9 dot, 7 crack,
All right, we are going to call this. Let's decide what we're going to call it for. The options are a pair or a Kong. I mean, a pong or a Kong. Or we can decide to skip it because we are going to use a pong and a pair at some point. So maybe it's best, I think, to stay concealed a little longer. We don't need the Kong, and we'll just keep watching and gathering because every exposure gives somebody some insight into your hand. So let's continue to go concealed for a little while.
But isn't there already a 7 discarded? A 7 crack discarded?
That's the one that it's waiting on us to.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I get confused with that too because I see it twice.
Like seeing it twice, exactly. Sorry.
Right. I really like the way we're set up for this particular hand and that we already have a pair of each of the suits. So we don't have to play this game and wondering which one will be our pair and do we not call where we already have to so we can make sure we have a pair. So let's go ahead and skip it for now. We have room to flex. West, that we don't need.
west, 9 BAM, 9 BAM, 4 BAM,
All right, let's see. Ah, look, 7 dot. Nice. Come on. All right. So next time we get a discard for a 7 crack, we'll call that our pung. We know we could get a Kong out of the dots, but we'll just keep watching, and that would allow the joker to be used for the flower. But we don't need to make any decisions just yet.
I guess that was a really good reason in not calling the 7 crack to begin with also, because you had the opportunity to have one of the other 2 or even the 7 crack come in.
Yep. And because we know of those 3 suits, one of them we only need a pair and one we only need a pung, and we have the flexibility to make it whichever suit we want. It keeps us flexible and keeps us concealed. Yep.
3 bam. 8 bam. Call.
All right.
East.
Let's
1
see what
bam.
we got. 4 bam. That does not help.
4 bam. 2 dot. 9 dot. Green.
Nope. Come on.
Green.
Let's see.
3 dot. Call.
Man.
2 dot.
Computers are aggressive. So personally, I would never put up a pung with 2 jokers. You only need a pung. This is the first 3 that's been thrown. I would definitely let 1 go. I definitely would not call the first 3 that came out if I didn't even have 1 to match. I probably wouldn't even call it if I had the 2. I would let it go just to see and stay flexible for a little bit longer. But don't do this. Don't call this early for a pung and burn 2 jokers. At least let 1 of the 3s go, because you're still going to be just fine.
Maybe we'll get it 3 and then we
Why did we not do the 4th hand down under the winds and dragons because we had all the flowers, because we had all the 7s.
Correct. Yep.
We had any.
We didn't see the winds going around in this pass, but yes, if we had seen winds, that would have been lovely to do the north and south with 7s. That would have been great.
Oh,
Just
okay.
to get all these set up. But because we have 3 flowers off of the Charleston, we looked over towards the like numbers hand.
Did we have 3 or do we have 2?
We have 3 flowers.
We need 5.
We need 5. Okay, that's another gripe of mine about this card. There are not a lot of hands on the card that have flowers and dragons with the numbers. So I feel like when you have numbers and flowers and dragons, you have to end up picking one or the other. Maybe I'm just painfully aware of the fact that one of my favorite hands from last year with the flowers and 3 consecutive numbers and dragons is gone. But yeah.
Favorite.
What's that?
I said a lot of people like that hand. I love that hand.
Yeah, so now I get numbers and flowers and dragons, and besides that like number hand with that has a couple pair, there's okay. That was just my another little soapbox about this card.
9 crack. Call.
All right.
1 bam.
2 exposures. Let's take a pause. We got to figure out what they're doing with 2 exposures. We have a pung of 3s and a Kong of 9s.
I think it's the first hand.
It could be the first hand.
It could be the 3rd hand with the dragons.
Oh, there's 4 9s though.
Oh, 4 9. Sorry.
Yep. And different suits. So I think it has to be the first one.
Right.
All right. So what else do they need?
6 dots.
6 dots and 6
Right.
cracks.
So if we get any of those, we are going to dump them. Hopefully they're not going to hit Mahjong again as fast as the last game. That was ridiculous. But we'll be aware.
Sub. 4 crack. Call. 1 crack.
All right.
7 bam.
Seriously, there's 6 of the jokers. plus ours is 7, so that's it. All right, let's take a look, because now computer 2 just put up 2 exposures. So what are they playing? They have a pung of 4s and a Kong of 8s. What are the options for them?
2, 4, 6, 8. And
Which hand?
the fourth hand down.
The fourth one down.
Yep, they could be doing that one in 2 suits.
Or
2 cracks, 4 cracks, 6 bam, 8 bam. Or
The third one up.
doing the sixth one down.
yes, 2, 4, 4, 6, 8.
Mhm.
Yep. So in that case, they would need 2 cracks, 4 dot, 6 dot. So this could be interesting. If that's the hand they're playing, they would need 6 dot, and we know computer 3 needs 6 dot. So we'll see what other tiles are called. Let's go.
Bam.
What's up?
Should we take the 7 bam now?
Yes, I think we should take the 7 bam. And we
Call.
should take it for a pung. We don't need to put up our joker.
Right.
Since one of the 7 cracks is out, and because we already have 3 7 dots, we're gonna, in our mind, we're gonna fix that the 7 dots should be our Kong, and the 7 cracks will remain our pair.
Mhm.
This also tells me that while I, like, personal rule, do not put up flowers with a joker. Don't put up jokers when you're exposing flowers, just because there's 8 flowers, so there's many chances for somebody else to exchange the joker. We're going to be set. I will absolutely call a flower if it's discarded, because then that would give us our 5 flowers, and we're ready to win on the 7 dot. If you play against me and I put up flowers with a joker, I'm pretty set in my hand. Otherwise, I wouldn't. I'd hold those back and really wouldn't expose them. All right, so we're 2 away.
5 bam.
Oops.
Green. 5 dot.
Jeez. Everybody
Red.
is redeeming all these jokers.
Who keeps changing them?
The first one I think came from computer 1, but I'm not sure where the last one came from. Another 5 bam. I think they really wanted us to play the multiplication hand.
5 bam. 3 bam.
All right,
7
let's
dot.
call that for a Kong.
Call.
Come on. Why is it not doing its thing? All right. Now we are ready to win on a flower. But the good thing here is that this hand, or even these 2 exposures, could still be 2 different hands. It can be the one we're playing with like numbers, and it can also be the 2 suit 5 7 7 9, the third hand down. So we haven't fully revealed what we're doing here.
Well, then you've been throwing the
5 bam.
But you're throwing out the 5 bam.
But I
3
threw out the
crack.
5. And
East.
if people are paying attention, that's the
9
third
bam.
5 bam right here. So if we saw somebody else do this, if we saw them put up 7 7s and then discard a 5, we would know that they're not playing the 5 7 7 9.
East.
So there's tons of
7
jokers
crack.
available for the taking. Gosh, I want
8 crack.
Wow.
5 bam.
6 crack. All right, we know that computer 3 needs it, but we're playing to win, right? We don't know if they're ready yet, but we're going to discard.
6
And they
crack.
were.
Mahjong.
Yeah.
One away.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yep. Okay, and we can see that
you
computer
have
2 and computer 3 were fighting for the they were fighting for those 6s. Computer 2 had none. Sorry, what'd you start to say, Greta?
Well, I guess you couldn't. I would say, would you consider getting rid of your joker? And
No.
take a chance?
Oh,
No.
sorry. Go ahead. Consider getting
No,
rid of the Joker and what?
Yeah, and taking a chance by saving the 6 because you knew they needed it.
Yes. So 2 things about that. I take a look at the tile count, how much of the wall is left. 57
right.
tiles. That's,
That's a
more
lot.
than half. That's still middle game, not even quite halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
Also, unlike gin rummy, where you can hold somebody's card they need till the end, and then when you get gin, you can discard that face down gin. Mahjong's different because you can't hold somebody's tile, right? You only have 13 in your hand, and that 14th tile that you call or pick makes Mahjong. So you can't hold it till the end. Because and also third, we had a really good hand.
Right.
So based on where we are, if we were 30 tiles left and we still needed 5 different tiles for Mahjong, no, we go to defense. If we draw that 6 crack, we're far away, we're not making Mahjong, and you make the decision that we're not going for the win. In this situation, we were set.
Right, okay.
Yes, we know they needed it, but I was not prepared with 57 tiles left to throw my hand.
Okay.
So I was hoping they were not ready. It turns out they were, but I was also hoping, since there was a chance that 2 and 3 were fighting for the 6s, maybe they hadn't covered. I mean, in this particular case, computer 3 had 3 of them, but if computer 2 had some, then it would have put more holes in their hand. So you take the chances. We knew it was a risk, and we weighed out, all right, based on where our hand is and based on the number of tiles left in the wall, this is a good risk. It was wrong, but we knew where it was. All right. I think that's, yeah, we're good. Sorry we went long. I appreciate you guys sticking around.
Thank you so much.
I hope this is helpful.
This was very enlightening. Very enlightening, Bonnie.
All right, guys. Thanks. I look forward to maybe seeing you online sometime. And we'll play together.
Bonnie. This was great.
Bonnie,
Thank
I
you.
sent a text to
Bye.
a message to Kathy, and she likes the idea of moving.
Okay. Great idea, Ronnie. All right. Good night, all.
Thank you,
What was
Bonnie.
Ronnie's
Thank you.
idea?
Well, you know how you had to go to the bottom of the screen to get the link for
Oh, right,
this?
right.
And it's the same
Okay.
with the class on Wednesday morning, and maybe other links too. I'm not familiar with all of them. So I asked her, why not put it up at the top of the screen before all the dates instead of having
Right.
to go through the
Good
whole
idea.
down.
Yeah.
And she's going to do that.
All right.
So,
Bye.
All right, guys. Bye. Have a good one.
bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.